Hey, what's up guys, this is Jack here with the Hobby Lair, and today we're doing a worth it video on the new Final Fantasy Secret Lair drops. There's not one, not two, but three new drops, plus 8 bonus promo cards, so lots to see, lots to talk about, lots to figure out if it's worth the money in your wallet. With all of the new Final Fantasy news for all the sneak peeks, plus all these new Secret Lairs releasing every other week, it's hard to figure out what exactly you should be spending your money on, and at the end of the day, there is just way too much product out there and not enough money. So anyway, we're going to go through the Secret Lair X Final Fantasy drop and talk about if it's worth it. So this news just came out this morning on Wednesday, May the 14th here in the US. Alright, so let's make this a little bit bigger so we can see the cards a little bit better. But yeah, this is going to be available in both Japanese as well as English and in non-foil and rainbow foil. Here is the promo. You get this exclusively if you buy some of the bundles that are available. And then the most important information, these drops will go on sale as part of our summer super drop on June 9th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So if you want to get this, we're going to tell you now, you got to get there at 9 a.m. because this is going to be super hype. First, this is Final Fantasy, and second, I'm going to spoil this a little bit, but the cards are really worth it. They really packed in a lot of value into this drop. But anyway, let's take a look at what we actually have here. So the first one is called Secret Lair X Final Fantasy Game Over. So this is a group of 5 sorceries. We're not going to dive into the values quite yet. We're going to talk a little bit more about that after we go through all of the cards first. But yeah, just checking out some of the art. And just one thing to note here, there are no cards with unique mechanics. These are all reprints of existing cards, just with a Final Fantasy title or a Final Fantasy name on it. First one is Day of Judgment, just your 4 mana white board wipe. We also have Absorb in the Time, which is a temporal extortion. Yeah, I've almost never seen this card being played. I think there's only one printing of it ever. It's a black card that gives you an extra turn, so that's pretty special. We also have Toxic Deluge. On the other end of the spectrum, this is played super often. It's a great way to kill indestructible creatures and just an overall very useful card. We also have Praetor's Grasp and Star of Extinction. Again, just a pretty wide variety of only sorceries. And if we just take a look at the art, I don't know. I don't think any of the art's super special here. I think the Sephiroth, this art looks pretty awesome. The rest is just, yeah, not the biggest fan of any of this kind of computer generated art here. Yeah, I think there's a lot more they could do with this art, and this one doesn't really do it for me. But let's take a look at some of the other ones here. And yeah, this is probably the most important piece of news here. Non-foil is $30 and rainbow foil is $40. This is a very welcome surprise. Everyone was expecting these to be $40 and $50, just like the Marvel Secret Lairs, because again, it's a new IP collaboration and Wizards had to pay a lot of money for it. This is only $30 and $40, just like the regular Secret Lairs, so everyone can celebrate on getting charged $40 for 5 cards. Alright, so onwards we go. We have the Secret Lair X Final Fantasy Grimoire, and then this one has 1 card of each color, and these are all instants and sorceries. So we start off with a prismatic ending here, and then we go into the most welcome surprise of all, Cyclonic Rift. This card is super expensive as a commander staple, and it's a very welcome surprise that it is here. Then we have a dam, just a nice little piece of removal. A lightning bolt, probably the most overprinted and reprinted instant ever made. There's so many lightning bolts out there. And then the last card, again, a lot of value here, Heroic Intervention. This might be the coolest art of the bunch as well. We have Cloud here with his big sword, and yeah, everyone gets indestructible. Very nice and hexproof. So I think with this set of 5 cards, again, like the VVs, Thunder Magic, I think this one, the Cloud and the Heroic Intervention, maybe these 2 arts are the best of the bunch. But again, I feel like they could have done a lot more with Yuna, Hope, and Noctis. Yeah, I feel like we're just not going to get wowed by arts like this, you know? So a little bit lackluster in that sense. And then if we scroll down here, yeah, again, non-foil is 30, rainbow foil is 40, so I think that's going to be consistent throughout all 3 of the layers. Alright, and then the last one is Final Fantasy Weapons. So we have a lot of really awesome little artifact equipments here. The first one is Staff of the Storyteller, and we have Blade of Selves here, giving your equipped creatures myriad. And then we have the Jite Umezawa, I think is how you say that, Umezawa's Jite. pretty popular card there, and Cloud's Buster Sword, one of the most iconic weapons there. Gaia's Dark Hammer, and Titus's Brotherhood Sword as the one and the only Sword of Truth and Justice. Huge reprint here, giving creatures protection from white and from blue, +1/+1 counters, and proliferate. Again, super awesome in terms of reprint value here, which we'll dive into in a little bit, but non-foil at 30, rainbow foil at 40 once again. So super happy that they kept that at the old price point and didn't jack up the price just because this is Final Fantasy. But again, I think out of the bunch here, Invictus Blade looks pretty hype. I like the art there. Truth and Justice Sword, Dark Hammer. I mean, I like the weapons that are featured, but again, I feel like the art is just kind of boring here. But yeah, let me know if you feel like that's not accurate and that these are actually really good looking cards. I don't know, I just feel like they're kind of meh. They're not bad, but they're not great either. I feel like they could have done a lot more with swords clashing, things like that. And I feel like with these three, they could have done more themes like pixel art or art from an artist like Amano. Yeah, I know both of those are featured in the set, but having a secret lair kind of dedicated to those would have been really awesome as well, rather than having these more or less lackluster arts in this secret lair. The reprint value is awesome, but the arts just don't quite do it for me. They also have these secret lair bundles. Like always with secret lairs, there's always bundles. The English language bundle comes with all three in both rainbow foil as well as non-foil. This is probably the one to get here, and it does include one copy of the Gilded Lotus promo card. Japanese language is actually the same price. The value of the Japanese one's usually a little bit less, even though the price is always the same. Just not as much interest in the Japanese one. Might be different for this because it's Final Fantasy, and an example of that is Hatsune Miku. The Japanese language drops just didn't do nearly as well as the English ones, even though it is a Japanese pop idol. All right, so if we take a look, we also have the Summer Super Drop Final Fantasy bundle. This includes everything, so this is English and Japanese, and it's exactly the price of both of these added together. Let's dive into the worth it portion, and we're back. So our goal is to walk you through how we like to think about the value and whether or not things are worth it. We don't really care too much about the foil/non-foil pricing. It's all about if you want the lowest cost printing for your deck. Sometimes that's non-foil, sometimes surprisingly that's foil. Don't really care too much about whether or not it's foil, but rather what the lowest cost way to get it into your deck is. And then we look at the spectrum of prices from the lowest to the highest and try to figure out where we think the secret lair printing will end up. And sometimes cards will already have secret lair releases, and that makes it pretty easy to compare prices to where we think the pricing will be. So without further ado, Day of Judgment. This is like a $1, $2 card. Probably a few dollars more for the special secret lair printing of this. We do see some Japanese alt arts that are a little bit more expensive, and then ooh, the foundations showcases, especially the fracture foil one, looks really nice. But yeah, it's not going to be nearly as expensive as those. It'll settle probably somewhere in the few dollars range. Next one is Temporal Extortion. Again, just one single printing here. The market price is pretty high, $17 because of that. But this is going to be a weird one where a lot more supply for this card is going to enter into existence due to the secret lair, so it should drive the market price for the original copy down, but then the secret lair copy should be a little bit above it, so it's probably going to be around this price. And then we have Toxic Deluge. There are quite a few printings of this card. It's a nice $5 card and maybe a few dollars more for the Final Fantasy secret lair version. All right, and the next two cards. So Praetor's Grasp, this is a pretty expensive card. The lowest cost for this card is $12 market pricing, and there's already a secret lair drop version of this, so it'll probably be similar to this, maybe a little bit more expensive due to it being Final Fantasy, but this is a great example to compare it against. And then the last card is Star of Extinction, and this is a solid $1 card, probably a few more dollars for it being part of a secret lair. So now we go over to the spreadsheet. I'm going to link this in the bottom in case you want to play around with this. This shows the lowest printing market price as well as kind of the expected value here, and the total for the lowest printings is right around $35, which is actually right in between the non-foil and foil pricing here, but the expected total is still a little bit above it. I'd give this a grade of B. I don't think it's super special. It's nice to have a 3 cards above $10, but again, it's definitely a solid secret lair, but nothing too crazy, so I'm going to give it a solid B. Next, let's dive into the Grimoire. So this one starts off with Prismatic Ending here. Yeah, this is a very cheap card, maybe a few dollars for the secret lair version. And then we have the piece de resistance of the whole thing, the Cyclonic Rift. Actually, I don't know, maybe the sword is worth more, but the Cyclonic Rift is definitely a bigger staple and played in a lot more decks. So with the Cyclonic Rift, it's like $35 market price, always very expensive. And then I don't think we have there's no secret lair version of this, but there are some nicer printings. I would say this probably settles in right around the $40 to $50 mark, and I guess it all depends on how much supply there is. By far the most anticipated card of the bunch. All right, next we have Damn. This is like a $2 card. Yeah, maybe a couple more bucks for it being a special art secret lair. Lightning Bolt. The most overprinted card, the most reprinted card ever. Still a 50-cent card even for the lowest printing, which is crazy considering how many copies there are. But yeah, you'll see there are a lot of secret lair examples of this. They're all around $3 to $4 mark for some of the latest printings. But yeah, these are all from relatively recent secret lairs. This is from the Marvel drop, for example. But yeah, I expect this to settle in right around the $3 to $5 mark. And then the last card, Heroic Intervention, market price right around $11. A very, very popular card, especially in Commander. Giving all of your permanents hexproof and indestructible is just really, really nice. You'll see that there are some secret lair drop versions of this. This is from the Black Panther Marvel drop. It'll probably settle in right around there, right around the $16 mark. All right, so jumping over to the spreadsheet again. Will be linked in the comments if you want to take a look at this yourself, play around with the numbers a little bit. But yeah, the lowest total here for the lowest price market pricing is right around $49, and the expected total price is right around $76. That's really good. That's twice as much as the price. So this one gets a very, very, very good grade here as an A, and I think this one will be a lot more desirable than the previous one that we just went over. Moving on to Secret Lair Final Fantasy weapons. The first card here is Staff of the Storyteller, a good solid $5 card with not a lot of printings. So this is going to be a very welcome reprint here, and it should be worth a little bit more given that it is a special art Secret Lair. On to the Blade of Selves. This card is also right around the $4 to $5 range. There's some really nice reprints of this that were in the Assassin's Creed Secret Lair that are all very, very expensive now. So I think with this art and the Final Fantasy branding, it'll probably settle in right around the Assassin's Creed Secret Lair price of around $15. And then we get to the Jite, the Umezawa's Jite. The market price right around $9 here. There is a secret lair version of this right around $11, $10, $11. Probably settle in right around there. Maybe a little bit more expensive since it's Cloud's Buster Sword. That is one of the most iconic weapons in Final Fantasy. Onwards we go. Colossus Hammer here, another $3 card. I think this drop has a higher floor than a lot of the other drops just because equipment, artifacts. There are always a lot of players that enjoy playing with these. So there is an existing secret lair. This is from the Evil Dead secret lair. And this guy's running in right around $16. Definitely worth a lot more than the $3 for the original Colossus Hammer. So this will probably settle in somewhere in between that. And then last but not least, we have the Sword of Truth and Justice. What an awesome, awesome card. Market price is right around $33, $35. So there is an existing secret lair drop. Kind of looks like King Arthur's sword, Excalibur. Yep, there's something about Excalibur and Arthur. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what secret lair drop that's from, but Titus's Brotherhood sword probably fits in right around that $40 range. All right, so if we look at the total here for the lowest market price, we're right around $54 in expected value. It's even higher at $88 than the previous one, which was $76. That definitely gets an A, and if you buy one of these, it's going to be worth twice as much immediately. You can't say that for a lot of Magic products, but for this one, you actually gain value by opening a product. What a novel idea. Oh, and then finally, we have the Gilded Lotus. It's like a $1 card, probably a $4-ish card. Here's a previous secret lair drop right around $4. I'd say the art on this one's a little bit nicer, so maybe you're like $5 card, but you can only get it if you get the bundle, so maybe it's worth a little bit more. We also have the bundle pricing, which is $199 for 2 sets of each of these, as well as one of these rainbow foil Gilded Lotuses. So immediately expected total is more than twice as much as the price, so I just gave it an A. So my overall thoughts are, it's a no-brainer if you like Final Fantasy, or if you really need any of these amazing cards for your commander decks, especially some of the really, really desirable reprints like Cyclonic Rift or the Sword of Truth and Justice. But the most important thing is if you can actually get past the queue to buy it. Has been the biggest ding on Wizards, is that they make it so hard to get these. because they're no longer print on demand, so you have to get into this line and you may or may not be able to buy it after waiting in line for 3 or 4 hours. But it is what it is. I mean, it's Final Fantasy, which is an awesome franchise with a ton of fans, and now they put in all of this value in it. They're practically forcing the demand here, and we all know that Wizard loves to tell people that their Lairs are either low stock or sold out just to show how popular the game is. I think there's going to be a lot of this printed, but just like SpongeBob and Marvel Secret Lairs before it, it will absolutely be sold out sooner rather than later, so make sure you're there at 9 o'clock on the dot. Alright, that's it for this video. If you guys like this format, please let me know if there's any specific card you really like, or if you think that the art looks really good and my take about the arts being mediocre is wrong. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. But yeah, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.